Killman. Chapter 1, The Shadow in the Alley. The rain fell hard over Blackridge City, washing neon lights into rippling puddles across the cracked pavement. The streets were quieter than usual, not because crime had lessened, but because a predator now stalked them. A man whose name the newspapers didn't print, but whose legend crawled through whispers in bars and hideouts. They called him only one word: Killman. A hooded figure moved through an alleyway where drug dealers once laughed and did business. Their laughter was gone. What remained was silence and the faint smell of iron blood. In the far corner, a thug moaned, clutching a shattered arm. Killman had come and gone, leaving only one survivor alive. "Tell your boss," the hooded man growled, his voice like gravel breaking glass. "Tell him I'm coming." The survivor nodded furiously, scrambling away, leaving a trail of blood. Alone in the alley, Killman adjusted the mask that covered half his face. His work was far from finished. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss more eerie and fascinating tales. Chapter 2, Blood Oath. Years ago, Marcus Kane was just a soldier coming home from war, hoping for peace. But peace was stolen from him one night when the Black Vultures came. The crime syndicate, merciless and hungry, marked him for refusing their protection tax. They broke into his home. He arrived too late, his wife and child were gone, silenced forever. He buried them under the cold earth himself. No priest, no prayers. Only rage. That night, under a flickering streetlight, Marcus carved a scar into his own arm with a hunting knife. He swore an oath in blood. "They took everything from me. From now on, I am no man. I am their end." The newspapers later would call him the Killman. He never asked for the name, but he wore it like armor. Chapter 3, First Strike. His war began with a smuggling ring. A dozen men in a warehouse, trading guns for cash, laughing, confident. The laughter ended when the lights snapped out. One by one, shadows fell upon them. A scream here, a gunshot there, then silence. When the lights returned, bodies littered the floor, and only one man lived, pinned against the wall with his own knife through his jacket. Why leave me alive?" the thug whimpered. Killman leaned close, the scar on his cheek catching the dim light. "Because fear travels faster than death." The man nodded frantically. By morning, every criminal in Blackridge had heard, Killman was real. And he was hunting. Chapter 4, The Detective. Detective Elena Cross stood over the crime scene, her boots wet with rainwater and blood. She was sharp-eyed, stubborn, and unafraid to speak against her superiors. The department whispered that she was obsessed with Killman, but obsession was the only thing keeping her sane in this rotten city. She studied the broken bodies, the precision of the strikes. Whoever Killman was, he wasn't reckless. He was trained. Deadly. And yet, none of the victims were innocents. All had long records. Is he a criminal, she murmured to herself, or justice wearing a mask? Her partner scoffed. Doesn't matter. We catch him, he goes down like the rest. But Elena wasn't so sure. Deep down, she felt the city needed Killman. And deep down, she knew she needed to find him before the law, or the criminals, destroyed him first. Chapter 5, The Black Vultures Move. The vultures weren't silent for long. They wanted to send a message. One night, they filled a crowded nightclub with their men, hidden weapons, and a trap designed for Killman. Word spread fast, and Killman took the bait. The club's music pounded like war drums as he entered. Strobe lights flashed across faces of dancers, oblivious to the storm about to break. Then came the first gunshot. Screams tore through the music. Killman moved like a phantom, cutting through the smoke and neon. He dragged innocents to safety, smashed heads against marble tables, and shattered guns with his bare hands. By the time the police arrived, dozens were saved, but the Vultures' leader, Viktor Dross, slipped out the back, smiling in the shadows. For Viktor, this wasn't just survival. It was personal. Killman had humiliated him. Now, he wanted blood. Chapter 6, Masks Removed. Elena finally cornered Killman in an abandoned subway tunnel. Her gun was drawn, but her finger hesitated on the trigger. He looked half human, half shadow under the dim lights, his mask cracked, his breath heavy. "Take off the mask," she ordered. To her surprise, he did. The scarred face of Marcus Kane stared back, weary but burning with fury. He told her of his family, his vow, his war against the Vultures. For the first time, she saw not a monster but a broken man trying to hold himself together with rage. "You think killing them all will bring them back?" Elena asked softly. "No," Marcus replied. "But it will make sure no one else loses what I lost." Elena lowered her gun. Against every law, every rule, she decided to let him walk away. Chapter 7: The Betrayal. Marcus trusted one man, an old war brother named Cole. But desperation makes traitors. Cole sold his friend's location to the Vultures for a suitcase of cash. That night, Marcus was ambushed. Gunfire tore through the air as men swarmed him near the docks. He fought, killed, bled, but numbers overwhelmed him. Beaten nearly to death, his mask ripped from his face, he was tossed into the river like trash. The Vultures walked away laughing. His mask floated downstream, carried by the current. To the city, it seemed Killman was gone. Chapter 8: Rise from the Shadows. But Killman refused to die. Gasping for air, he dragged himself onto the riverbank, his body broken, his spirit barely intact. 4 days he lay in hiding, patching wounds, forging a new mask out of steel and pain. Elena found him, risking everything. She brought medicine, weapons, and something he'd almost forgotten: faith. "They think you're dead," she whispered. "Use that. Hit them harder. End this." Marcus nodded. Killman wasn't gone. He was reborn, sharper, darker, more merciless than before. Chapter 9: The Final Hunt. The Vultures gathered in their fortress, a warehouse bristling with guards, floodlights, and machine guns. They were ready for war. But war was exactly what Killman brought. He descended upon them like a storm. Shadows flickered between flames as explosions ripped through the compound. One by one, the Vultures fell, some shot, some broken, all silenced. In the center of the inferno, Marcus found Viktor Dross, the man who had destroyed his family. They clashed in a brutal duel, blade against blade, fists against flesh. Every strike was fueled by years of rage. At last, Marcus pinned Viktor to the ground, blade at his throat. Chapter 10: Killman's Choice. Viktor's eyes widened with fear. "Please, don't. I'll give you money, power, anything. Just let me live." The blade trembled in Marcus's grip. He had dreamed of this moment, rehearsed Viktor's death in his mind 1,000 times. But Elena's voice echoed in his memory: "If you kill him, you're no better." For the first time in years, Marcus hesitated. Slowly, he lowered the blade. Instead of finishing Viktor, he bound him and dragged him out into the light where police swarmed. Elena met his eyes. She understood what it had cost him to stop. As dawn broke over Blackridge, Killman vanished into the mist. The city whispered his name again. Was he a savior? A monster? Or something in between? Only one thing was certain: his war wasn't over. And the shadows still belonged to Killman.